So everybody thinks that energy has to do with just blood sugar. And it's like, it's not just about the chemistry in your bloodstream. All right. So, and your energy is your nervous system. Let's not forget that. Right. So it's like what's going on with your mind is just such a big part of that. And, the noise and cutting down on the noise and the background noise is just because that'll exhaust you. It occupies your mind.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And as always, guys, we are super stoked to be with you guys here today. We're not in the studio on a Friday. We're on a Thursday. It's Thursday afternoon, and we are psyched to be here with you guys together in the throes of an incredibly busy week. And Dr. Pete, I rolled in here. I came in on 2 wheels, which is not atypical. we usually come in sliding in to the studio, literally and figuratively. But I made comment to you. I was like, I just got back from Australia, 23-hour flight back on Sunday night. And of course, there's a 16-hour time difference. And I am time zoned, man. It has just completely played with my sleep schedule on Sunday night and Monday night and Tuesday. So I'm a bit sideways here. And I was just talking to you about the fact that we are the CEO, the Chief Energy Officer. And my goodness, this role is challenging enough and demands all of you. And you're not really aware of how much it demands of you until there's less of you to give. And man, that energy concept, guys, energy is everything. I thought it'd be fun to have a conversation today about what do CEOs do to make sure that we're optimizing, maximizing, and preserving our energy to be able to fulfill our roles as the Chief Energy Officer. Let's talk about the lifestyle of a CEO specific to Dr. Pete, you and I. What do we do personally in our lives to make sure that we are at our best to be able to serve?
So a couple of things. Number one, for all of you who are listening, it's Wednesday. But if you're in Australia, it's Thursday. So
I'm still in Australia time.
I was just checking my calendar when you were saying that. I thought, is today Thursday? It's actually Wednesday in North America. But
that tells you pretty much everything you need to know right now.
Yeah, Dr. Stephen, you just gave yourself away. But I just want to recognize you for your commitment to serve and to serving our tribe and our profession, flying around the world. Like you said, being on jet lag and all the things, literally all the way to the other side of the world, trying to get your body back on track, but not missing a beat, not skipping a beat, hitting the ground running. You were in our meeting, literally landed the airplane. Next thing you know, we're in our weekly team meeting as a leadership team, and you're right there, barely landed. And, that's the kind of leader you are. So thank you for
man.
Your leadership, and welcome to, you got a day back. You got Wednesday. Still,
Look at that. I'm ahead of the game.
A little bit. Yeah. I was thinking this
I feel so much better now.
Exactly. So that's energy, energy is up now. So I was actually thinking this morning, not knowing what our subject was going to be, knowing we were going to record today. And I think some of you know that our routine that Dr. Stephen and I have is when we gather for our podcast, because we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes over many, many years. You begin to develop a rhythm. So our rhythm is we think about what we want to discuss, and we come to the meeting or to the podcast and we discuss what's on your heart, what's on your mind, what are you thinking about? And then we decide what we're going to cover. Well, this morning, one of the things that hit me was the concept of what does a CEO do with their time when they're not head down, bum up? What do I do is a question oftentimes that I get. What am I going to do? And it's a scary proposition for someone who is so used to being head down, bum up, where their value economy, the value exchange has always been in the deliverable, let's say, of an adjustment, which is an amazing thing to be able to do. But when you make that transition from the owner operator to the CEO, from the laborer to the leader, there has to be time where you have you have time to not be in that position anymore. And so what do I do? And so one of the things that I was thinking about, and this could maybe start our conversation here today, was the importance of having time to think. Think. Because when you're so busy doing, you have very little time to think. There might have been a time in your business when you had all the time in the world to think, but then you got to a certain level of success when you don't have any time to think, or very little. And the time that you've given yourself to think is in the time where you shouldn't be thinking, when you should be resting and recharging. And so I hope that when we go over some of the concepts of our rhythms and routines and things that we do that help me energize, and how do I make an adjustment when my energy is off, stuff like that, we're going to get into now. But I just want to say that to you, if you're listening, like, man, what am I going to do when I'm a CEO if I have more CEO time? I'll tell you one thing, there's many, but one thing you're going to be able to do, and you should do during your waking working hours, is giving yourself time to think about things, think about people, think about your vision, your mission, your values, your core, your premise, your product. Think about opportunities. Think. It's amazing what can happen when you have just a little bit of time to think. I think the enemy's tactic is just to keep you busy.
That's right.
All the time. You never have time to think. You never have time to consider. And so I hope that, as we go through our rhythms and what we're doing to work on our energy, to keep our energy up. And this came a little bit out of a training we did with some coaches as well, is just the sensitivity to being on. What does that look like to stay on, to be ready from start to finish, from beginning to end, all the way through, not missing a beat? Like, what does that look like to have that level of precision and focus? And, that what does it take to get to that level? And we're going to share about our routines, but I just want to start there, because if we had more chiropractors becoming CEOs who are called to be CEOs, and they had more time to think, man, I'll tell you what, I think there's a lot of really good things. I'm not talking about being distracted, doom scrolling. I'm talking about quiet, undistracted, uninterrupted, focused time where I'm here to think. There's power there.
I love that you started there, because I think where I do most of my thinking is in the morning. So I think that this is a great place for us to start, so I think this conversation, cause I get it. I get questioned all the time, from people. It's like, tell me about your day. Like, tell me about your day and your week. What is it? What I kind of see what you do, but I don't understand how you do it, or like, what does the day and week look like? And I want to make it relevant to, I'll harken back to the times when I was in the adjustatorium as well, and relate it to that, because as much as my life has changed radically, it hasn't really, right? So what you and I were just talking about is like, when you're coaching, when we do coaching calls, you need to be on minute one, right? So if somebody's showing up for a 30-minute or a 60-minute coaching experience, it's like minute 1, you need to be on. Minute 30, you need to be on. Minute 60, you need to be on. It's on. There's no down, right? So now you don't have to be perfect, guys, but you need to be on. Right. So, and there's a clear distinction. It's like you're in the adjustatorium and you're going from patient to patient to patient. You need to be on for every single patient that God's trusting you with. It's like, as you're moving through your day, you need to be on as the CEO, as you go from meetings and trainings, right? So sales conversation, whatever it is, you need to be on. And the reality is that is energy, and you have to have the energy to do it. So how do we set ourselves up for that? I think starting from the morning is the most sensible way to present this. For me, it's get up early, right? So, and it's 7 days a week. I'm not a 5 day a week ritual guy. I'm not a 6 day a week. I'm a 7 day a week. It's every day, whether I'm on vacation, does not matter. It's easier. It's way easier to stay consistent on what time you wake up. I don't need an alarm clock. It's been decades that I've been doing it. And literally it is now physiologically impossible for me to sleep in. Right. So, and much to my chagrin, because there's days where I'm just like, man, I wish I could sleep in. Right. But it doesn't happen. All right. So I can tell you it wasn't always that way. Right. So I can remember, in practice, I can remember going to the front desk and asking Diane, my checkout CA, it was like first year of practice or whatever, end of first year, what time's the first one scheduled by? She'd be like 9:20. I'd be like, oh, good. And don't schedule anybody before then. So I can sleep in and I'll show up here at like 9:00. And I can remember one of my first coaches, CJ Mertz. I can remember him one of the first things he taught me is he was just like, listen, you are wasting so much potential. Right. So, and I loved the way he framed it. I don't know if it's his original thought, but this is where I learned it, which was everyone's trying to master your life. In order to master your life, you have to first master your week. And in order to master your week, you have to first master your day. And in order to master your day, you have to first master your morning. In order to master your morning, you have to first master yourself. And I'm like, oh, bullseye. That's exactly what I needed to hear. So fast forward, what I recognized was I needed to get up early. I was wasting the best third of the day, right? So, I started seeing patients at 6:45 in the morning, which meant huddle was at 6:30 in the morning. I live in a different state than when my practice was. I drove for 21 years from New Hampshire to Massachusetts to practice 1 hour, which means I was leaving my house before 5:30 a.m., which means I was up at 4:30 a.m. so I could get my 1 hour rituals in to get ready to go to the office. Dr. Pete, I literally broke that sleeping in mechanism for 20 years of doing that. And I have since clawed back that, I like to sleep until 5 now. I would really like to sleep into 5:30. And it's because I now appreciate and understand the incredible value of sleep and the detriment of not sleeping enough. So now I'm chasing it on the other end, getting to bed earlier at night, right? So getting focused on the right 9 to 5, like making sure that I do 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. properly so I can do 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. properly, right? So that old right 9 to 5 cycle. So to this day, it's 5 a.m., eyes open, downstairs to start morning rituals. We can talk about morning rituals, but I'd love to hear from you is like, what time are you getting up out of bed in the morning? Are you a 7-day-a-week guy? Are you able to sleep in? What's your rhythm?
Yeah, it's great. So it's bounced around a little bit for me, to be honest, over the years, where I would say that what really landed for me was when I spoke to one of our docs, and he shared with me about the Sabbath, and he said to talk about the importance of rest. It was actually when my wife was going through some health challenges, and he said that to her that you need to have at least one day in the week where you don't get up. Like you don't have to get up. Like you just wake up and you get up when you're ready to get up, that kind of thing. And it sounds to me like when you're up, and I'm very similar where it's like when I'm up and up, but I do try to allow myself to have one day in the week, usually it's Sunday, where I don't have to get up like early. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I'm not up early because there might be a tournament I'm traveling to with the kids. There might be one of the kids is up. It might be, we're traveling. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen, but it's like, I like to have a day in the week where I don't have to, where I'm not up. But for me, it's 6 days, and it's 5:30. That's my time. So the 5:30 number is my number. There are times when I'm up earlier, but my get out of bed is 5:30. And what's interesting is that I actually had somebody ask me about this, and I actually wrote out my entire schedule 2 weeks ago. So it's like, right. He's like, I just want to know everything that you do from every little detail. And I'm like, great. I'll put it all into a document. I'll send it to you. So I actually have it. On the top of the document that I sent him, my title of the document is Win the Day. Win the Day. And what I've learned is very similar to what you just shared in that quote was, if you want to win the day, you've got to win the morning. And what I share with this guy is if you want to win the morning, you've got to win the night, and
100%.
And so for me, a lot of this actually comes back to my evening, that 9 to 5, that 5 to 9, you've got to get that 5 to 9 one right on the day before so that you can get the 5 to 9 right on the next day. And that's right. What I found is, because then you go that 9 to 5, which is your sleeping time or resting time, which I'm not sleeping necessarily that entire time, but I'm resting. I have to be in rest mode. And my kids know that because, they'll have things going on. And it's like, well, dad is resting now. Like I can't do any more homework. I can't do any more.
That's right.
Like I'm
can't. Shutting it down.
I have to be able to rest and recharge and get ready for, a wonderful sleep and tomorrow. So for me, it's protecting that evening, and with my kids, and they're up in my business because they're around all the time. And I have to, protect that 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. time So that 5 to 9 time has to be really productive for me as well. And so that I can be up at 5:30. So that's that morning for me. So 6 days of the week, that's my time. And I love it, by the way. I like getting up
So
because
do I can't wait to
tell
get up.
people, I'm like, the best things happen before everybody else is up, man. Like you're missing out. Like, if you're not up early, you're missing out. It's so awesome, the morning time. Now, you don't always want to get up, but once you're up, so here's one of the things that I do that's been really helpful. Number one is first thing when I get up is my knees hit the floor. And I found that if I can begin the day in prayer, like it just changes everything. So that's the first thing I do. And you know what? If you're running late, you're not gonna be able to pray. That's what I found. The days when I don't pray, I'm like, why didn't I do that this morning if I missed that routine? And by the way, I do it, I would say 95, 98, 99% of the time. But in the times that I haven't, it's because I'm rushed, because something happened. So number one sign of knowing I'm doing the right thing is like the first thing I do as soon as I wake up, man, my knees hit the floor and I just pray. And it's a peaceful prayer because I actually pray by my side of my bed. And it's comfortable to pray by the side of my bed, to be honest. I like that. And so it's actually restful. Like I actually put my body into I lean up against the bed and I put my head down and I just give my body a chance and my mind and my spirit a chance to all right, we're doing this. Because sometimes when you get up, if you get up too fast, I don't know, it can mess things up. So I like getting up, but in a rhythm. So I go from laying down to kneeling down,
stepwise.
from kneeling down to standing up. And then when I stand up, the first thing I do is I drink 32 ounces of water. I don't know. That's just been the thing that works well for me. I talked to Dr. Camilla about this actually, because we were talking about it. And I said, I drink that water and I have it set out the night before. So it's room temperature. So when I drink it, it's easy to drink. It's not cold. It's not hot. It's room temperature. I finish that. And I said, and then I do a sponge bath with as cold of water as I can. And I just rub my entire upper body, my back of my neck and my hair with water. And then I put on a sweatshirt with no shirt underneath. A sweatshirt, it's actually one of our remarkable sweatshirts. And I put that on right on my just bare skin, no shirt. And then I get ready to transition into my quiet time, right? So, and I brush my teeth too. So there's a couple other little things, but those few things, physiology wise though, get me in a position between the kneeling before standing and walking, then the hydration, then the cold water with a rub down on the physical, and then dry it off and then put a nice sweatshirt on and zip it all the way up so you're there. And then it's I'm now within a few minutes of waking up, I'm physiologically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually charged, already. And now, but I'm peaceful. It just kind of, I don't know, neurologically what that all does for me, but it just puts me in a really good place where I'm alert, I'm awake, but I'm happy about it. And then, I don't know, I could keep going, but those are a few little things that I do right there in those first couple minutes, that first 5-10 minutes right at the beginning of that, where you're going kind of slow. I like going slow in those moments. I don't want to go too fast, you know what I'm saying? And so it just enables me to just start the day at the right pace, and then it goes on from there. But those are a few things.
I think slow mornings are the ultimate flex, right? So, and we can all have them. You just have to get up early enough to be able to afford it, right? So the price you're paying is how much sleep, right? So again, getting that right, the 5 to 9 p.m., getting that right so you can get in bed and resting by 9. So you can be sleeping from 9 or resting from 9 to 5 a.m. So that you're up for rituals 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then you work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? So that's the 9 to 5 cycle that we teach, right? So rituals are the things that you get to do, right? So that's the thing we have to recognize, right? Routine are the things that you have to do to get ready. The rituals are the things that you get to do, right? So the things that you're choosing. And I'm with you, man. It's so similar. I'm just visualizing. I don't even get out of bed to pray. I've gotten this, I don't know how I started doing what have you, but it's literally just in bed, getting to my knees in bed and just getting stretched out, in the prone position, just from my knees. I'm sure it's a yoga position, happy baby or something. I thought I saw it on Instagram once. I was like, yeah, that's my prayer position. And it's just surrendering the day, right then and there, and just being use me, just getting in a state of gratitude and just, and getting your head and heart ready for the day is just it's just a great place to start. Like you said, it's a transition from I'm asleep to I'm up, right? Just a beautiful thing. And feet hit the ground and it's always thank you. Those are my 2 footprints. Thank you. Just thank you, Lord. And I do the prayer of Jabez before I get out of bed. Just, Lord, first, thank you for the blessings, but bless me indeed, expand my territory, guide me with your hand and keep me from trouble. So that's been 30 years of doing that just before I get out of bed. And it just gets now I'm set. Now I'm ready to stand. Right. So getting downstairs, and I'm like you, but it's 32 ounces of coffee. No, I'm like, I get a 16-ounce glass of water, and then I'd get my hydrogen water that I got from Dr. Terry Harmon gave me one of those hydrogen water bottles. So I get one of those things fired up while I'm making a cup of coffee. I try to make sure I'm up for like 45 minutes before I put caffeine in. And, I get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunshine on my face as the sun starts coming up, and do my breathing exercises. I'm in the book. I love to be in my daily ritual. I like to be in the Bible. I like to read something professional. And then I got my to-do lists out and planning the day. And once I get those things wrapped up, I do admit that I get onto my calendar, which leads me to social media to see if there's anything that I need to do with social media. But it's by now I'm a good 45 minutes in. Oh, I forgot one of my favorite rituals is building a fire. I build a fire in the morning while my coffee's going. So I do a lot of these things concurrently, like they're all going on simultaneously. But I love building that fire. So now I've got my books, I've got my coffee, and I sit down in the front of the fire, and man, it's like spending that. I've got that next hour, and people are like, well, that sounds like a luxury. It's like, yes, it is. It's a luxury, and it's a luxury that's available to almost all of us. We've all gone through seasons with babies and everything. So I got an asterisk on that. I hear you. I get it. But if you make it a priority and you make the investment, right, you too can have that slow start.
Well, I'll tell you, even when we had young ones, young ones, like brand new, I remember, Doc, that one of the most powerful seasons of my journey was actually when I would bring the little ones down into it was in my basement in a different house. We had this basement, and inside and down in the basement was a finished basement, but one part was unfinished, but I turned into my gym. And in that gym, I had like whiteboards on the walls, and I would go in there. It was actually became like my favorite room in the house. Nobody even knew about it. Like it was like down in the basement around the corner, and like had a door. Like you wouldn't have never gone in there. If it was dark, you would have been like, oh, I shouldn't go in there. But you turn it on, it's like, oh, I put mats in there, pull-up bar, bunch of weights, whiteboards all around. It was this secret hidden place. Well, I would go into that room with the babies. I would have a blanket on the floor. I'd bring all their toys, little sippy cup, plate, carrots, applesauce, all the things. It was like, I just had it there. And then I could just keep doing my thing. Like that was the thing. It was like, well, no, there's no excuse. Oh, the kids are up early.
It was an adjustment.
Yeah, it was an adjustment. They were up early. Great. Some of those days when they were up extra early, I was like, I guess I'm up extra early today. Like, God, you must have a message. And some of the most powerful messages I ever received from God came on the most uncomfortable days where I was like, this is totally going against what I feel like doing right now.
Yeah.
And it was oftentimes the kids were involved. And that's why I got like, man, God used those kids in so many ways to get me where I needed to be with him. He actually used that to help me because I'm a kid. I'm just a big kid. I'm just a kid, and I needed that time. So that time in the morning, Doc, that you just described is so powerful. And, so for me, very similar is, just being able to get time to read. I call it my triple threat position. Got to get my heart right, get my mind right, get my body right. Right. And so some days I work out early in the morning. Some days I just stretch early in the morning. But either way, there's always a physical movement, right, that I do. And I have my stretch routine that I do. It sounds like you do one right away. I do one a little bit later than that. The other thing that I've been doing faithfully has been cold. And we talked about this on a different podcast, but the cold, doing that on as many days as possible. I was at one point pretty rigid about it every day, but I've gotten a little bit more human about it. And I definitely have, 4 or 5 days a week where I'm submerged in cold. And the other days I can just do cold showers, things like that. So I found that that's been really important for me, Dr. Stephen, from an energy perspective.
Yep.
I found that, being able to journal, writing is really important. Like I write out my day, like it sounds like you do. Like I write out
every day,
my goals for the day, my goals for the quarter, for the year. I write those out. I write down I'd write down a statement of the day every day. And sometimes it's the same thing. Multiple days in a row is fine. But I write down like what am I committed to? And I have a bunch of little things that I like to write down every day that are important to me. reminders of just things like that I just anchor to. Like one of them is surprise me. Like if you're not open to, being surprised by God surprising you, like you're missing out.
Yeah.
Like I always say, God surprised me today. Do something that's going to that was awesome. That's a surprise. Surprise me, Lord. It's a great prayer. It's a simple prayer. So those are just little things that I do, but I love visualizing my entire day before it happens. So I go through every meeting, every appointment, personally and professionally. I walk through it all. I see it. I see every appointment. I see every person. I think about every group. I think about everybody that's in that group. I just think about them. I don't have to do a lot. There's not a lot of doing, just thinking. Like I said earlier at the beginning of this podcast, just thinking about people and just taking a minute. And you know what? A lot of times I'll get an idea for them. Oh, that's good. I'll write that down. And it's amazing how that little bit of just intention, not a lot of time, but intention goes such a long way with connection. And it energizes you because now that appointment, that meeting is energized because you're like, hey, I thought about you, Dr. Steven, today before we got to this moment. And here's what I was thinking. It's like, really? That brings so much energy. I did that for patients all the time, Dr. Steven, adjusting. It's like, hey, Steven, as I'm adjusting, like, hey, man, I was thinking about you. I saw you on the schedule this morning. We were doing our, pre-shift huddle. We were talking about everybody that's coming out. I saw your name. I was thinking about you. Hey, I thought about this and I wanted to share this with you today. Bam. Justin, that's my tick for the moment.
Yeah.
Those are the most powerful. They're like, thanks, Doc.
So
and
good, man.
Those little things go such a long way. You talk about your energy. Guess what? You get somebody else's energy up. That gets your energy up. It's like the gift of giving. You get more in return. And Dr. Steven, I think that's just so powerful.
So we spend so much time like with data input, and we also spend a lot of time with output, right? Like you're either listening to 1 or 2 or 7 things coming in, like input, data input. Then there's the output of your talking. Like right now I'm outputting, or so. Do you spend enough time where neither one of those things are happening? It's just quiet, right? So in sailing, you have headwinds or you have tailwinds or you have no wind, right? So when you have no wind, what is it? It's calm, right? So when you have the calm, it's like, that's the thinking part of it, right? So it's like, you're not having data input and you're not having data output. This is a third gear. It's neutral, right? You're not in drive. You're not in reverse. You're neutral, right? Like, so you give yourself time for that. Otherwise, you just fatigue. Guys, remember, we're talking about energy. This is real energy stuff. It's not just, hey, I caffeinate and I take an energy bar. And it's like, it's making sure that you are aware of that energies from your nervous system, right? So everybody thinks that energy has to do with just blood sugar. And it's like, it's not just about the chemistry in your bloodstream, all right? So your energy is your nervous system. Let's not forget that, right? So it's like what's going on with your mind is just such a big part of that. And, the noise and cutting down on the noise and the background noise is just because that'll exhaust you. It occupies your mind, right? So we've actually started playing just praise music in the morning. I told you, like my son, Sam, who's at Liberty, when he comes home on breaks, he always has new praise music mixes that he makes. And he plays them in the morning on like our home Sonos system, our stereo system. And then all of a sudden he was gone and we weren't hearing the praise music in the morning. It was like, and we were like, oh man, we really missed that. So, Sam, send me some mixes. So now we just play all that. And it's like, he's back in the house, which is great. But just having that in the background is like, it's not white noise, but it's not distracting noise. It's just this really, find some background music that just inspires you, that energizes you. That just keeps things like quiet and just tamps down the white noise and the distraction. So you talked about workouts, Dr. Pete. I like to work out midday or end of day. Ideally, it's midday. That's my goal, is to do something midday, my workouts. But I love working out. So for me, it's typically not a motivational issue, or I don't have enough energy to do it at the end of the day. I do really enjoy working out. But in the morning, I'll do something like, I like to walk the beach or do like a ruck. I'll put a rucksack on, like a 35-pound backpack, and then walk the beach back and forth. You and I have done that before. It's just such an awesome way to start the day. I don't care if there's ice on the beach. That's awesome. It's so fun to just do that. Made you and Sebastian do that barefoot. It was so cold. You were fine. Sebastian was belly aching the whole way. So, I mean, that kind of stuff. Guys, it's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. And listen to like, what are we doing? We're charging the battery. We're like storing up the battery. And it's like, because it's going to take everything you got all day long, right? So let's talk quickly just about diet style. I'm curious, like, what are you following for a diet style now? And I can talk about some of the diet style and supplement stuff that the choices that we're making now.
Yeah, so it's real simple for me. I go real light during the morning. It's usually intermittent fast. 7 days of the week. I mean, maybe on Sundays I break that. Sometimes on a Saturday, but most of the time I try to really stick to not eating until midday. So the morning is really it's water. I do after the 32 ounce, I do another 32 ounce with collagen in the water. I love those all those cool packs that they make now with all the different you can put electrolytes. I mean, there's lots of wonderful things they put down in those packets. So I'll do one of those. So by the time I get to 8 o'clock in the morning, I've drunk 64 ounces of water. And that's when I have coffee. So then I have my coffee. I do one coffee a day. That when I say one, like one 20-ounce coffee.
One giant. But you have so much water in your stomach, your body doesn't even know you have coffee
No,
in you.
I don't. I sip on it, but I put it in a mug that can keep it somewhat warm. So I don't like chug it. I just sip on it a little bit as I go throughout the day, and that energizes me. I enjoy that. Actually, it brings me joy. I told people, I was like, dude, I actually like it. It actually makes me happy. I do it because I'm happy.
100%.
Like I went 7 years without having coffee because I just thought that was the right thing to do. So I did it. I went 7 years with never having a slice of bread. I'm one of those people that's just like, oh, you said we shouldn't do that. I'm never gonna. I won't do it again. And but then when I came around and I started to enjoy it, I was like, man, this brings me joy because God showed me that a word that He had for me was the word enjoy. I was like, what does that mean? I studied that word. I was like, no, I want you to enjoy things. Like I don't want you to just resist everything that brings you joy. So it was like bringing me joy. So I'll have that. And then at midday, I'll usually do a salad. So I love a salad. I don't know. I'm a routine guy. So I love salad. I like throwing an egg on there too, like a hard-boiled egg or chicken. I like those kind of that source of protein with salad. I just do it with olive oil and some sort of a vinegar balsamic. I like throwing olives on there. I'll do that midday, and then at night I feast. You know what I'm saying? Like I feast. I eat food. Like I throw it down, and it's usually a meat, some sort of a protein, the vegetables. I will say we've gotten into making our own sourdough, so I will indulge in some sourdough from time to time. There's no question about it. But we make a bunch of different meals at the dinner time. We follow a pretty healthy diet, I would say. I mean, everything's organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, all the things. But we have a nice big meal in the evening, and that's pretty much it. I've really pulled desserts and things out of my life. I don't really drink during the week. I try to avoid that. Any alcohol, I will drink some on the weekends, but I really I'm just very sensitive during my energy during the week. And I recognize like what keeps me up. And so that's my diet style. So a lot of like water, I'll drink another one or two of those throughout the day. So I drink about half my body weight in water per day.
Yep.
Coffee every day. And I don't really drink anything else. Every once in a while, like a seltzer, like a Spindrift type of water, I'll have those. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't need that. I mean, I have coffee. That's it. So It's pretty simple, Doc. It's pretty boring. My wife would say, you're so boring. It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm predictable, and it works for me, and my body thrives with that.
Consistency is the new intensity. I heard that somewhere. So I'm like, you could feed me the same thing every single day. Big smile on my face, just a big smile on my face, just like a happy boy. I'm like, yep, awesome. As long as it's the stuff I want and I love.
That's right.
Feed me the same thing every day, right? I go to restaurants. I don't need a menu. I'm like, I know why I'm here. I know what meal I've come here for. It's like, do you need a menu? I'm like, nope. I'll have that haddock piccata, please. It's like, I've been here 100 times. I've never had anything but that. Right. So I'm with you. But I think I can take probably your diet style and invert it. And I've been all over the shop on this, largely been paleo for 25 years. Like I love the expression. I'm 100% paleo 80% of the time. Right. So that's me. Like I love the paleo diet style. In fact, I just love the paleo lifestyle. That's just me in a nutshell. I dabble in carnivore. I aspire to have a fast day, right? So it's just like, doesn't always work out because of traveling and whatever else, social stuff, right? But that's pretty much me in a nutshell. But I appreciate a bigger protein breakfast. I really like to get that protein in me, and it's usually later in the morning. When you're up at 5, 9 o'clock is late in the morning, right? So that's 4 hours up, right? So I'm not eating right away, but I do eat in the morning. And then I do like to have a pretty good sized lunch, and it all depends on what time I'm working out. Do I do lunch before or after my lunch? But it's always going to be meat. It's always going to be protein, like a carnivore lunch, and then typically a light carnivore dinner. Trying to get my meals in and my workouts in earlier, because otherwise it screws up your sleep, right? So wearing the Oura Ring, wearing the Whoop, and just really charting the course with the, a lot of the, like you said, cold plunging, but also doing the sauna, getting in the sauna at night, trying to get that sauna, that late day burn in, but all of it trying to pull it earlier, right? So I've just had a habit of, like, because calls run late, life runs late, family runs late, dinner runs late, it just pushes everything too late into the night. So that's a struggle for us. That's a chink in the armor. Always trying to pull the workout earlier, which means you could pull the meal earlier, which means you could pull the sauna earlier, which pulls bedtime earlier, right? So always making the target. I am in bed by 9 p.m., 5 nights a week, not necessarily on the weekends. But it's a rhythm. It's 100% a rhythm, and it absolutely drives that energy. And it's amazing now that we have the wearables that we can track it and we can figure out, like, what works for us, and keep an eye on it. And you can see that behaviors matter, and they matter a lot. And it's amazing to have that immediate feedback, especially when it comes to, like, your readiness score, which is a way of saying, here's your energy today. This is where your readiness score is, like, where you're going to be in your energy. And if you want a KPI to follow physiologically as a CEO every day, look at that readiness score and just recognize that every choice, every day matters. And it's not about perfection. It's about progression, right? So ultimately, if you're keeping track and you're living a data-driven lifestyle, what you'll recognize is that it's every choice every day that's going to drive that energy. And we know the truth. We know the truth. You're a CEO, the chief energy officer. Your job is to marshal all of the resources, the limited resources of your organization, your time, energy, focus, and money. And as much as it's not all about you, it is all about you. You've got to recognize that you're the lead. You're going to set the bar for the rest of the business. And we all know the truth. When, this is a living organism. And when the energy's up, business is up. When your energy's flat, business is flat. When your energy's down, business is down. Dr. Pete, energy's everything.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy. All right, guys. So Dr. Pete Camiolo here. Happy to be in the studio with my friend and somebody I've gotten to know over the years. He's been a wonderful supporter of the Remarkable Practice over several years now. Joe Hagan from Wealth Colony. Joe, so glad to have you on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me. And today we're going to talk about wealth. We're going to talk about wealth building. We're going to talk about money strategies. We're going to talk about what's new and what's happening here in this world. It's 2025, and it's great to be connecting with you. So maybe just take a minute or two for our audience. Some might know you. Many might not know who you are. So give us a little insight. Tell us a little about who you are, and then I've got some more things I'd love to talk to you about today.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Pete, for having me here as a guest on your podcast. About myself, first and foremost, I like to say I'm a present husband and dad. I have 5 kids. That's my why, right? And I'm halfway through the whole, Groundhog Day with, we were talking earlier, my middle daughter going into college next year. And professionally, I started out of college years ago on Wall Street, being the dinosaur stockbroker. And somewhere along the line, you saw that whole model changing, right? Because now it's like, why do you want to pay someone to do a trade for you or handle things that you can do on your own, right? There's a lot of, Charles Schwab was $10 and now it's $0 at Robinhood. All that you saw coming. But most importantly, I got indoctrinated into the blockchain. I didn't buy it enough at Bitcoin when it was like, $1, $5. And I've watched for almost 15 years now since I've been involved in it, Pete. Bitcoin went from something only drug dealers use to only small companies use to only small countries use. Now Wall Street, and now they just started a digital asset summit because the White House has a crypto czar. What I've been doing is I've been learning a lot from folks way above my intellectual pay grade. And I try to take that and demystify it to my ecosystem of friends and family that are just growing. Say, hey, here's how to use it. Here's how to trade it. Here's something you might want to consider investing in. But above all, when I talk to people about what the future is, because I like to say your grandkids are going to laugh at you and say, "Wait, you put your money in a bank, really? Like you gave them like like they borrowed your money and it wasn't guaranteed, and it's all about peer to peer, and everything's going on the blockchain, and they're going to grow up with it. Same way that our kids don't know cursive now because they grew up with an iPhone, right? Decentralized finance, educating people on why it's important, what's at stake for not knowing it, and really how to use it in your business besides your professional or personal life. That makes
Yeah, and
sense.
I'm really interested in that, and I sense that on my side, just with my own kids, just talking about, very practically, like the days that I had a pager when I would get texted from my boss or paged by my boss, and I'd have to go find a phone and call them back and find out what the heck was going on because, they paged me into work or something was going on the job and I need to
Right.
find out more. I remember, I talk like that to my kids and, how the first cell phones were and, what we used to watch we had like 4 or 5 channels on television, and if it wasn't on, you didn't get to watch it. If you missed the Giants game, it was over. You wasn't watching replay. There was no way to fast forward. There was no, like we talk like this and it's dinosaurs, but that's what you're talking about is what it's going to be for in the banking and the money and the finance world. And I've been following you for years now. And I love reading your emails and all the things you send out and keeping your people informed and educated, which is a big part of what we teach in chiropractic, that our job is to educate and adjust our patients, right? And you do the same thing. I know you're a big believer in educating and educating your people, being educated. Can you talk a little about, we talk about a job of a CEO is to solve problems, a business is to solve problems for another person, right? So your business,
Right.
what specifically, like you work with chiropractors, you work with doctors, you work with a lot of people, but you specifically are working in our space, serving chiropractors. Talk to me a little about what are the challenges that you're seeing chiropractors face and how are you helping them in this space specifically with the work you guys are doing?
Yeah, thank you. First, friends in the space that introduced me to you guys at TRP, like-minded, entrepreneurial. My family, none of us, took the vaccine. All of these things come alive. My daughters, my other kids that have played sports, we believe in, getting adjusted and being, competitive and all those things. So one of the things I learned along the way was just enlightening them on what I learned on projects that really were impactful, and you can see like, okay, it's not something I'm reading about. If you can educate me and help me understand it, let me make money. So we help people understand originally a couple of years ago how to go open a Coinbase account. Don't be scared. Don't listen to the corporate media that's telling you to take a vaccine. They're the same ones that are telling you that Bitcoin is a scary word. And it's not. Okay. They weren't invested in it. They needed to get invested in it. So they wanted to scare the retail people away. But at the same time, the technology, it's like imagine you being a college student or a chiropractor running a business and not having office, using a typewriter and whiteout. Like that's the next step. And if I can help people understand using the blockchain or using different things to enhance their business. And one of the things I will tell you for chiropractors, they get it. I see them very active on social media. So there's a lot of things that we can do that you can do once you get educated. But if I could just talk about one thing, it's every $1 billion brand has a rewards program. Why don't you? Right? So what do you mean? I'm not Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. I'm Dr. Pete or Dr. Smith. And at the end of the day, it's like, yes, but if you understand Web3 and Web3 marketing and blockchain, not about transactions. It's not about buy 9 cups of coffee, get your 10th one free. It's about driving customer, in your case, chiropractor case, patient engagement. The more they're engaged, the more office visits, the more patient retention, the more they tend to spend, the more they tend to share. So if you could take the blockchain, all these things, if you want a certain behavior that you want to reward from all of your patients, will happily do it because they love Dr. Peter, they love Dr. Stacy, right? You could run a rewards program that has been proven. The reason why every brand does it that has money is it boosts customer retention, profitability, and really everything you want to do in that space is customer patient engagement. So now you can take something and put it in a smart contract, which we would show you. You can show you how to do it. It's not It's not rocket science unless you make it rocket science. You take, okay, if you retweet something that I tweeted, if you join this group, if you write a testimonial, if you do these things, now my efforts on social media that I'm already doing, which is called Web2, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, right?
Yep.
They get exponentially exploded. And now you bring in more people that are interested in learning more about your services, and you drive more and more patient engagement. That makes sense?
No, I love that. I love that idea. You know, to your point, this is what the billion-dollar companies are doing. In our programs, we teach concepts of how to run, a remarkable business. We talk about building a remarkable practice, and we talk about then scaling it into a remarkable business. And what we're doing is we're learning from what are the bigger successful businesses? What are they doing? What are the best practices? What have all of the people that have gone before us learned through trial and error, through blood, sweat, and tears, through a lot of money, and how do we apply it? And this is a great example of a rewards program which drives engagement, as you said, and engagement is a prerequisite for all the other things we desire, whether there's referrals, it's retention, it's results or revenue. All that's directly connected back to an engaged audience, which is powerful. You talked about one of the things you said was, how easy it is. When you educate people on how to open a Coinbase account. Talk about that, for example, for like chiropractors and what you're doing for them, maybe even for their staff. Are you guys including any of this in, let's say, if I hire a team and you want to build this into the team benefits for being a part of our team? And are you doing anything on that side in terms of, what separates us apart? How do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace? Why would somebody come work for you versus, let's say, somebody down the street? Are you doing anything with that too, with the chiropractors? These are small business owners that are competing for A-level talent in the marketplace. Is there anything there that you're doing there, Joe, as well?
Yeah, as far as teaching you how to set up and trade, and get some trade alerts that make sense. I mean, that was so 2021, right? What happened was we got hit with a crypto winter in 2022, and then we learned from guys like Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. They're like the biggest mentors of Silicon Valley, of just how bad the Biden administration was to crypto specifically. And they were on Joe Rogan. They were talking about it on their podcast, and everybody was scared to talk about that until the election came. And then they came out. Now everybody's building. You've got cryptos you've got clarity and regulations. Now it's easy to say, hey, Pete, remember that thing I was telling you we were going to come out for chiropractic a couple of years ago? How come it's not out yet? Watch that podcast. You'll realize that these companies, like, you can bring fentanyl across the border, you can rob a car, grand theft auto. That's okay. Lawlessness like that is okay. But if you're an MIT or a University of Chicago kid that wants to build some cool blockchain application, right, and innovate, you're the bad guy, and you're going to get debanked. You're going to get an SEC Wells notice. Like, it was just wild how they all came out talking about it. So there's a frenzy now of building and moving forward because the technology is that great. Where it applies to chiropractors for me would be, all right, they have this revolution chain that it really is the new rebrand of the old product we used to talk to you about. Okay.
Yep.
They just went bigger, and revolution is a L2 chain. What does that mean? That means it's a layer 2 that lays right on top of Ethereum. Imagine if you're driving down a highway, right? And you just want to get in the easy pass lane and not pay more for it, actually save you money. Layer 2 lets you do transactions cheaper and faster in a certain space. Coinbase came out with Base. Revolution is really for the creator economy. And how is a chiropractor a creator? Well, I don't know. I know a lot of chiropractors sell supplements. I buy some that I take, in order to stay healthy. Maybe you start an affiliate promote program and you have it run, and everybody that is your patient or customer becomes an affiliate, and you just build this beautiful model. By the way, you spend enough time taking care of your patients. You got to set it up and let it forget it, because it's built into a smart contract on the blockchain. It's completely transparent. All the accounting and payments and everything is done in real time, real settlement. So some of the things that you're already doing, you talked about learning from other practices in the past and make them remarkable. You never had the blockchain. So you can take some of those lessons, and if you could take this new tool, like, oh my gosh, I don't have to have, typewriter and whiteout. I got this thing called, I can copy and paste, and all the file saving and all the other stuff Microsoft Office does. This is just another level. It takes out middlemen in every way. And when you flip the middleman and take it out of the equation on its head, the profitability and the scalability just goes to another level. And if you're, like I said, running something for like a chiropractor, it would be okay. You can invest in it. Like you could have bought Microsoft when it first came out, or you could have bought Apple when it first came out with the iPad and the iPhone and all that stuff, and you would have made a lot of money. So there's discussions there where you may want to invest, but how to use these products to really make your practice more efficient is the discussions we have. And yeah, we have coaches, a couple of coaches here that are partners, and we're teaching them. Like for right now, we have a way for them to, get on this network. It's free. If you get in early, you get rewarded. And when it goes live, you'll have access to all kinds of ways to utilize that network, test it out, and say, you know what, this makes sense to me. I got the aha moment. Yes. And then if you start using it, like I said, it's literally something that I believe could be as common as liking and following and all the stuff that you can do on the network. And like I said, have it running and it's running for you and it's not taking away from your bandwidth. Spend some time and think about it. Whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you set it up, you let it run. You don't have to watch it. That's the beautiful part about it. Literally, you set it and forget it product. And we have another company that we invested in that has a 7-year, just separate from the Revolution chain, that has a separate AI that trades the market for you. And it has more than a 7-year track record, right, of literally outperform the S&P index. And the guy that runs the AI has been way ahead of all these Johnny-come-lately AI companies that are coming out there. He used to manage $8 billion for Deutsche Bank, and he's the expert that has trained the AI for machine learning. And and literally it's really easy to use. It's like conservative, aggressive, moderate. That is what we learned on the other Dr. Crypto Pro product that we had, that it was great when the market was great, but to really trade it, you had to learn how to trade, where most people that we spoke with just wanted to set it and forget it. So you have AI that's helping you navigate markets like the one we have today, down 1,000. That's less worry you have to have on the markets, and your investing is in good hands and more money, more time. So there's a couple of different ways that we help people do that. And, you can set up a coaching call with me or Matt or one of my team and just kind of walk through that wherever your interest may lie.
It's good. So with that, you've piqued my, and I'm sure a lot of others' interest. What would be the next step then to get on a call with you, Matt, one of your people? What's the next step? How do people learn more, take a next step?
Yeah, I would say I write articles every day and see what piques your interest on LinkedIn. Joseph Hagan, blockchain enthusiast, one of my favorite people. My title years ago, and I get really good engagement. People message me all the time there. And while you're there, before you message me, you can read a couple of articles. Oh, wow, that one makes sense. Maybe this is something that I want to learn how to do more. Or just email me at joe@wealthcolony.com. That's my email. And LinkedIn is Joseph Hagan, blockchain enthusiast.
Beautiful. You guys heard it here. So check out Joe and read his stuff. I love reading your stuff. You always put out great content, great information, make it really easy to understand for people that are maybe not operating in this space. So check out Joseph Hagan on LinkedIn at Blockchain Enthusiast, and also joe@wealthcolony.com. Also, you can find Joe, if you come to our immersion events, you'll see Joe or somebody from his team usually represented at the event. So stop by the booth and say hello to them as well. But Joe, thanks for taking the time to be here. Thanks for being a supporter of the Remarkable Practice, which is chiropractic. And our goal is to help more chiropractors become more successful, which means they're helping more people. And that means we're making a bigger impact in this world, which is something that you're doing as well. So thanks for being a great supporter of our movement and our work. We appreciate you. And thanks for taking the time to be with me here today.
Likewise, pleasure to be here as always.
Hey Remarkables, Dr. Stephen Franson here. Are you ready to take your practice systems to the next level? Grow your practice, increase your profits. Would you like to have your team immersed in a high energy, inspiring environment where they're trained and skilled up in the complete TRP system? I've got great news. It's that time of year again. It's time for the Remarkable Conversion and Retention Immersion. It only happens one time a year in the US and once in Australia. June 6th and 7th in Orlando, and June 27th and 28th in Sydney, Australia. In this comprehensive training on the complete Remarkable Practice Building System, we cover everything day 1, 2, 3, 4, week 1, 2, 3, 4, month 1, 2, 3, 4, year 1, 2, 3, 4, and beyond. Patient conversion and retention. We cover the entire system. What would it feel like to see more of your new patients eagerly starting care and then happily following your recommendations for care? They stay under care because they want chiropractic care. At this powerful and inspiring 2-day event, you and your team will discover exactly what is working today in the conversion process. New patients starting care and staying under care. Building your practice volume and your revenue. Learn the most cutting-edge communications that drive more conversions, unbelievable retention, and incredible referral. This is the best bang for your buck in training all year. Register your team at theremarkablepractice.com or find the link in the show notes below. Join us for a jam-packed 2 full days of intensive training for chiropractic teams that want to grow their practice and increase their profit. June 6th and 7th in Orlando, Florida, and June 27th and 28th in beautiful Sydney, Australia.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.